Ground College of Health and Management Sciences invites ambitious students to pursue excellence in dynamic learning environments. Why choose us? Our institution offers a transformative educational experience, combining education excellence and practical skills. We provide a cutting-edge curriculum with hands-on training, mentorship from industry professionals, networking opportunities for career growth, and leadership development for global impact. The programs offered include BSc, Medical Laboratory Science, Nursing Science, Environmental Health Science, Public Health, Community Health, and Health Economic. We also offer HND in Public Nursing. Our facilities: modern computer and medical labs, research centers and digital libraries, and interactive learning spaces and study zones. Who can apply? Aspiring professionals in health and management can apply. Working individuals seeking career advancement can also apply. International students looking for a global learning environment are also key applicants. Application requirements are 5 SSC credits, including English and Mathematics, German entrance exam scores, medical report, birth certificate, local government industry letter, recommendation letters. Why Higher Ground? We offer work-study programs, flexible payment, and a supportive academic environment. Apply today. Visit www.highergroundcollege.edu or our campuses at Lab opposite VCK Jalingo, Taraba State, and opposite Army Barracks, Tako, Taraba State. Take the first step towards a brighter future. Choose Higher Ground College. Escape the everyday at DY Scott, a luxurious haven for your hair, nails, and overall well-being. Imagine yourself settling into a plush armchair, the aroma of essential oils and freshly brewed coffee filling the air. Expert stylists meticulously craft your perfect look, whether you're seeking a bold modern style or a classic timeless cut. Beyond the perfect haircut, indulge in a revitalizing manicure or pedicure. Our skilled technicians use only the finest ethically sourced products, ensuring a truly pampering experience for your skin and the planet. Enjoy a refreshing drink, a mojito, chamomile tea, or something bubbly while you unwind in our relaxing atmosphere. Looking to socialize? Challenge friends to a game of table tennis or snooker in our convivial relaxation area. Reconnect with yourself and leave feeling confident, truly pampered and beautifully you. DY Scott is more than just a salon. It's an experience that nourishes your mind, body, and soul. Find us at Roadblock Jalingo, Konaru, or call 081-4563-6195 to book your appointment today. DY Scott, where style meets serenity.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Politics on Some TV. I am your host, Abraham Maina Shoda, and we're excited to explore the future of Taraba State with a distinguished guest who has advised top officials in both private and public sector, and he has also served in both private and public sector. Joining me today is a renowned expert with a wealth of experience in policy making and development. We'll be discussing the opportunities and challenges facing Taraba and exploring strategies to unlock its full potentials. And some of the key discussion points for today include economic development. We'll examine ways to boost Taraba's economy and improve the quality of life for its citizens. We also look at infrastructure growth. Our conversation will cover initiatives to enhance infrastructure and support sustainable development. Leadership, we also leadership insights. Our guests will share their expertise on effective leadership and governance in Taraba. And we're eager to share this insightful discussion with you. Let's get started and explore the possibilities for Taraba's future. Now, let me introduce the guest. So you join me in welcoming our esteemed guest who has graciously agreed to share his time and expertise with us today. We are honored to have him here, and he's someone that has served as President General of the Unity School All Students Association. Is someone that has advised that he has a very, very huge resume. Let me use that word. And he's someone that a lot of us know is Sir Michael Ibrahim Magaji. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Abraham.
Yeah, thank you very much for being on Today's Politics on Some TV. So how's the weather be? Today's the first day of rain in Jalingo and everywhere is cool. How is the weather be there where you are, sir?
Yes, the weather is great here too. It's been raining over the last 2 days, so it has helped to bring down some of the very high temperatures.
Okay,
so it's great.
That's good.
I'm happy to hear that Jalingo is bring down.
Yes, the first rainfall in Jalingo, and I thought maybe someone sang Majek Fashek send down the rain somewhere around Jalingo, and that is why we're having a rainy day this morning. And we're fortunate to have the presence of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu in Jalingo. Probably maybe that also made the heavens to open for the rainfall.
Yeah, blessings for everybody, blessings for all of us. And we welcome the First Lady to Taraba too.
Okay,
welcome her very sincerely.
Thank you very much. Well, before we go to the questions, because I know a lot of people, since we said we'll be having a lot of people have been calling, asking, they really want to watch this interview and they really want to listen to you. So before we go, I would like to know, who is Michael Ibrahim Magaji?
Okay, in how many words do you want that, Abraham? In 3 words or in one sentence or one paragraph?
Well,
but it's okay.
It's okay. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you for having me first on your show. I'm deeply humble and honored to be part of Some TV's discourse today. Let me also start by congratulating your management, the ownership of management, for such a brilliant job, and that indeed you are part of the success story around Taraba today, because you are also bringing in expertise, you are bringing in information that will promote development. So a big congratulations to you and your team for this feat.
Okay, thank you.
Remember, many years ago, there was no radio station in Taraba. Now there are quite a number of them. So this also tells us that things are happening in terms of development, particularly from the private sector. Okay, so you asked, who am I? Well, I'm from Taraba State. I was born in Jos over 50 years ago. I went to a school called Hillcrest in Jos for my primary education. From Hillcrest, I went to Federal Government College Jos, a Unity School. And after that, I proceeded to the University of Maiduguri for my first degree and the University of Lagos for my second degree. In between that, I also had learning experience in France, also many years back. I'm also an alumnus of the Kennedy School, the Harvard University, which houses the Kennedy School of Government in Boston, Massachusetts, and I've been trained in quite a number of institutions around the world. I hold an MBA from the United States International University, and I have quite a number of fellowships from different associations and different awards. Let me not bore you with that. In terms of my work experience, I started my career at Citibank. Citibank, as you know, is a Fortune 100 company headquartered in the US, New York. At their location, their subsidiary in Nigeria. And I spent, a part of my career there learning best practices and providing financial services, for some of the top and biggest corporate names in Nigeria. I also was one time a director at Access Bank, regional director, heading their northern operations before I left Access Bank. After it was, at the time it was re-engineered, and we were part of the initial story when Igboje Mopede took over that bank. We were happy with our modest contributions there. After that, I left the private sector when we had set up the Kaduna Business School. The Kaduna Business School was an initiative by Professor Daya Rusani, myself, and a few others, where we wanted to bring in learning and new knowledge into, let's put it as the Northern Hemisphere. We had finished our careers in banking, so we wanted to do things that were developmental in nature to create impact and transformation, particularly in the northern local economy. So we set up that as far back as 2002. And then by 2004, I was invited to public service to work as an advisor to then the Minister of Youth, Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs. So it was three ministries in one under the presidency at the time. I had served with a great man called Frank Wike Jr. And I was behind the scenes doing strategy and reforms for him. I've also served in after those three, I've served in 5 other cabinet portfolios as advisor. I've served in water resources, I've served in Federal Ministry of Finance, I've served in the National Planning Commission, I've also served as advisor in the Minister of Works. So to put that together, I've done about 8 portfolios, cabinet portfolio advisors, dealing with different ministers, working now in the public service, particularly in designing and implementing different policy options for government. It's a privilege to serve my country, it's a privilege to serve Nigeria, and I think any experience in public service is a privilege to every Nigerian. And it's also an experience that gives one the capability to create impact, because you're looking at the largest audience possible, which is the whole country. Of course, if it was a state, it would be limited to just the citizens within the state, but this was also in federal jurisdictions. So yeah, I've done quite a bit of that. I have pioneered and led many efforts in educational development. As you said earlier on, I am the President General of the Unity School All Students Association. This is an association of about 114 schools today, the alumni of those schools. So anywhere you see a federal government college, like the one in Ukari, or the federal government girls college, like the one in Jalingo, these are the Unity schools, and they are all over Nigeria. So today I'm privileged and humbled to serve as the President General, superintending over 1 million members in Nigeria and in different parts of the world, diaspora. So that's something I do voluntarily. That's something I do because of my penchant to also try to create impact and make a difference, because I believe, we're not going anywhere if we don't address the education problem. So all of us have a responsibility. And through the alumni of Unity schools, we are trying to show Nigerians that you can indeed use alumni relations to promote public education. You can use alumni resources to promote public education. And what we're doing in USOSA basically is try to revamp those schools, bring them back to where they used to be, or even exceed the quality, so that the next generation of Nigerians also get the kind of quality education that we got. So in USOSA, we're in a solution mode, we're in a give back mode. So that's one of the things I have been privileged to, platforms I've been privileged to work on over the last 17 years. But in the last 2.5 years, I've been privileged to serve as President General. Of course, in the course of my career and in volunteering, I have served on governing council of Nigerian University. I have, like I said, been part of the founding of a business school. I've also led a project which was dealing with digital classrooms for primary schools, public primary schools for that matter, across Nigeria, particularly in the northern part of the country. In fact, in Taraba there, I have about 10 schools which I worked with in the past, where we brought digital tools, digital education to underprivileged kids in public schools in some of the very vulnerable places. And this is what we did in about 12 states across northern Nigeria. That project itself, even though I'm not directly involved anymore, is something that is expanding across Nigeria to see how we can also transform primary education. So maybe I'll just stop there, and as we go along, probably other things will come up. But that is a summary by just my humble beginnings and my evolution up to now.
Yes, that is quite impressive. You have a very, very wide experience. You've been there, you've done that, and you also even have a badge for that. And I'm proud because as my President General, also I finished from a Unity School, Federal Government Bukari, and I'm always proud of the Unity, being part of the great education we got from the Unity School. And I'm very sure today you are going to show the way that the Unity School have shaped you and also shaped millions of other people. And my wish is that we go back to the days when Unity School used to be the pride of Nigerians. But let us focus on Taraba for now. With your vast experience, with what you've known, are you an indigene of Taraba State? Today, the title is Unlocking Taraba's Future, and I'm going to be very, very candid and be blunt. Samagaji, from your national vantage point, I would like to ask, is Taraba underachieving? And if so, who and what is holding it back from taking its rightful place among Nigeria's economic leaders?
Okay, thank you, Abraham. Let me preface this discussion with this answer with saying that the challenge for most governments around the world, but all governments around the world, whether they are sovereigns, as in countries, or they are subnationals like Taraba, or Gombe, or Lagos, the biggest challenge has always been bridging the gap between growth and development. Let me explain.
Okay.
Growth means, by growth here, I'm talking about population growth, numbers, demographics. By development, I'm talking about the collateral infrastructure required to service this growth. Which means that every day that a child is born in a locality, government has a responsibility to appropriate resources to take care of that child as his rights as a citizen. So access to healthcare, access to education, good roads, good security services, the right waste management, food security, job and wealth creation. Now, where you see there's a very wide gap between growth and development, it presents its own challenges, what we will call the stress index. And every state, and not just Taraba alone, has this challenge. The difference is that some states have a wider gap in terms of the stress index, while some are not as stressed as others. Again, how are we able to match growth with development? In many parts of the world, people are building future cities, future locations, future capitals in anticipation of growth. But here we are dealing with trying to run very fast to stay where we are. We are running so fast to stay where we are. There's very little movement, more of motion, because the gap is so wide. And it's not about saying who is responsible, who is not responsible. These are legacy issues that have built up over time, because the more you ignore these sectors, year on year, as the population grows, the stress index also grows. Because if the population is growing and you're still using the same number of schools, you're still using the same number of healthcare centers, you're still using the same number of roads, at some point there will be stress, there will be congestion, there will be scarcity. And that has its own social implications. So if we come back to Taraba, Taraba is the third largest state by land mass in Nigeria. Taraba has, maybe after Niger, which is larger than it, and Borno, it has the longest channel, stream of the river, which is the river Benue. Huge water resources. arable land, fertile land. How has this been converted to create inclusive growth for people? This is the challenge. All right, and then there are many other indices you can look at, Abraham, and I'm sure the listeners know. I mean, there are several indicators: unemployment, availability and access to healthcare, access to schools, because government is made to provide basic social services to the people. That is major function, and of course to provide security for those people. Now, if we're going to do a measurement of that, where does Taraba sit on the scale? And it's not to say that anybody is right or wrong. It's just to say how well are we doing and how well can we accelerate this process. And I believe Taraba can do more. Because don't forget, and especially for the young people, sometimes I tell them when I grew up in Jos, because the time I grew up, we belonged to a state called Benue Plateau. The modern day Taraba, the modern day Gongola, most of it, the modern day Benue, was one time one state to put together about 5 of the legacy states were in one state, and Jos was the capital. And from Jos, development was happening as far as Taraba and what was then Gongola and now Adama. So again, you look at the indicators and say, where do we rank in terms of all these indicators? I was reading a report last 2 weeks, and it was profiling the number of doctors in the various states and access to healthcare. And Taraba was the least in Nigeria in terms of number of those to the population. Okay, when it comes to education, what are the results showing in secondary school education, in primary school education? When it comes to things like infrastructure, like roads, and if you travel by road out of Taraba or into Taraba from any of the neighboring states, the difference is clear when you come in Taraba territory. Whether you're coming from Numan, or you're coming from Katsina, or you're coming from Ukari, coming from Benue into Ukari and Jinkai or wherever, you can see that access by road is still a very big challenge. That has implications, because if you cannot mobilize people to move back and forth with ease, it impedes development, it impedes economic growth. If I want to bring an investor and he has to access me via those roads, he will not come. Thank God we have an airport, and thank God the current governor has worked to upgrade the airport. That's a plus. But how many people go by air? Maybe 1% of the population. But it's still good, and it's highly commendable that was done. And today the first lady is here visiting us. If that airport was not active, it's very unlikely she would have come. So again, every state, including Taraba, we have to measure these indices. How well are we doing, and how much better can we become? Another way of looking at it, Abraham, is to say, let us do a peer review study between a Taraba and a state that was created around the same time, like a Gombe state. Okay, with very similar resources. All right, and if you put Gombe on the scale with Taraba on several indicators, Taraba is way behind. So the challenge for government is to bridge that gap. Where do we want to be? Where are we? And what strategies do we need to deploy? Now, I can tell you for free, there's no leader who comes into leadership and really does not want to serve or help his people. The big question is that they all have different approaches. They all have different levels of efficiency and effectiveness. They all have different, strategies. Now, which is the most suitable strategy to accelerate growth? Does Taraba have a strategic master plan for 25 years, for example? Does it even have a 10-year master plan? Is the capital city in Jalingo does it even have a master plan? Is there an industrial zone? Is there a sites and services scheme? Is there, locations to site schools, academic areas? Are there, locations that have been mapped scientifically, to provide for future development? We have to look at planning strategically, and that's what development is all about. And it's important that Taraba takes these indicators into account. Look at where we are and where we should be. Why I mentioned the issue of Benue Plateau State is that Taraba has transformed from being a component of Benue Plateau State to from there we move to Gongola State. Then from Gongola we move to Taraba. But in all these three, we are still worse off. And the whole idea around state creation, at least then, was self-determination for government to come closer to the people and to make governance more effective. Now, I'm not too sure that has happened in the way it really should, because like I said, if you look at peer states like Gombe, they have demonstrated much more capacity to their development than we do. Gombe, for the third time last year, was the best state to do business in Nigeria. Would you believe that, Abraham? And don't take my word for it. Go online and check. Gombe State, ease of doing business became tops for the third time. Unbelievable. Right there in the northeast, same zone with us, same terrain, very similar budget. Okay, so yes, Taraba really has underperformed. So we need to all work hard to accelerate its performance. And this will come with the proper strategies that we need to put in place to help the government to bring in the private sector to accelerate and stimulate this development.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Magaji. There, you've said a lot, and while you were speaking, I was checking those facts, and you have not found any fault with the facts that you've given. But you've advised ministers, you've led financial institutions, and now you guide infrastructure and investment strategy at BPE, and that means you're a great asset to Taraba State. Now, how will you, if you to advise Taraba State now, how will you, first of all, grade our approach to economic planning, and what do you suggest? Because you said like Gombe 3 times last year won the state with the most conducive environment to come and do investment. And we know the present governor has been going around looking for investors to come in. So how do we approach economic planning and investment attraction over how have we done it in the past that have not attracted investment, and how do we go about it now?
There's this popular saying, Abraham, that says capital goes to where it's welcome. Okay, funding goes to where it's welcome. Investment goes to where it's welcome. You don't even have to go and look for it. If you're getting it right, people will look for you anywhere it is. If they can smell the naira, they can smell the dollar, they can smell the potential, they will come. Without even moving an inch, okay? I tell people, don't chase money. Do the things that will make money chase you. Yeah. Because that's how the world really works. You chase money and give yourself trouble. Meanwhile, you're not creating value that will bring the money to you. Now, for our states, and for Taraba particularly, I asked the question earlier on, do we have a master plan? Do we have a strategic master plan? For all these sectors, have we sat down with people in government, with people in private sector, with people with stakeholders who are stakeholders in Taraba one way or the other, to sit down and deliberate on the way forward across all the sectors, the social sector, the economic sector, the industrial sector, and map it all out and say, okay, you know what, over the next 25 years, all right, this is where we want to be. Okay, this Dubai we're all going to. 45 years ago, Dubai was a fishing village. I didn't say an industrial base. I didn't say a trading base. It was a fishing village. And it took the vision of one man and his team to transform. So we as Tarabans also need to all come together, irrespective of partisan inclinations, irrespective of tribal and ethnic affiliations, irrespective of all those biases that you keep hearing about Taraba every day. Come together, and not just over a weekend, okay, consistently over a significant period of time to map out what we want as a state and what we want to be. We have the land mass, we have mineral resources, we have the water bodies, we even have the people. When we put that master plan together, on the part of government, there will be clear deliverables. On the part of the private sector, there will be clear deliverables. For government, set up the master plan, set up the incentives that will bring the private sector in. Alright, you must incentivize it. Okay, with a budget of 429 billion this year, which of course is probably, an outlier based on what it has been in the previous years. If you divide that, for example, by the population of Taraba, which is, let's say for the purpose of being conservative, is 2 million, that allows Taraba government to spend 248,500 naira per citizen. Okay, if you were to appropriate that. Okay, and 248,500 naira comes about 20,000 naira a month per citizen. To provide health, to provide education, to provide roads, to provide security. It's not possible here now. Okay, so we must think of how we can energize this economy, okay, to make it more productive. And government alone, from what we can see, can't do this. So we need to bring in the private sector. I was just doing a small study, and easily I could count four local governments in Taraba that are still not connected to national grid. So there's no energy. That in itself creates its own issues. There's no inclusion in economic activity. But once you don't have energy, you cannot power industry. You cannot power, whether it's light or medium scale, you cannot power it. When you don't have energy, kids can't even read at night. They can't go to school at night because, obviously there's no energy. So you're losing out on those things. So we need that master plan which will clearly articulate development item by development item. Where are we? We're here. Where do we want to go from here? Okay, when we have established that variance, then we know what we need to simply do. And private sector participation is very key. The local economy and energizing is very key. Okay, I mean, I don't live in Jalingo, but I come once in a while. And I'm sure you know, Abraham, 7 o'clock in Jalingo, everywhere is dark. 7:30, by 8, the roads are empty. That economy has slowed down and the public is not active anymore.
Yes.
And the ultimate is have a 24-hour economy. However, that might be a far cry because not many cities in Nigeria have that. But I'm just simply saying, when it's sunset, geographically and bodily, people just power down, and there's nothing much happening to energize the economy. So again, these are all indicators of how active an economy typically is. You're in Lagos, you're in Kano, you're in Kaduna, bigger cities. You see people even through the night are doing all sorts of things. So that plan will come up with strategies, clear strategies, not just strategies, but delivery too. Who delivers what? Then from a policy option perspective, there has to be a clear economic management team that would midwife and implement this. And we have so many seasoned public servants, active and retired, who have been part of the success story in former Gongola, even former Benue Plateau, and of course even in Taraba here more recently, who can actually play a key role. You also have a lot of private sector participants from Taraba and even friends of Taraba who are happy to come and do something. But like I said earlier on, investment and capital only comes where it's welcome. So it must be welcome. Taraba must provide the kind of environment who can engage the stakeholders in the private sector and even the public sector. I have also argued, severally that the federal presence in Taraba too is still very weak.
Yes.
So what can we do to attract more federal presence? By extension, more visibility and then more activity and even jobs for our people. So there are ways these things are done. And it's not rocket science. There are agencies here sitting in Abuja who provide support to subnational governments, development finance agencies, development agencies who are in the education space, who are in the health space, who are in the development commission space, who can do things for the state. But we must have a plan first. If there's no plan, how do you start to implement? And then I think that's the starting point. And if there is, I would like to know, because I have not seen anybody come to tell me, Mike, we have a 15-year master plan, we have a 25-year master plan. Not architectural plan only, but a plan that talks about how to elevate the economic status of Taraba State from where it is now to one of the top performing states, if not in northern Nigeria, if not in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria at least. That's the starting point, Abraham.
Oh, thank you very much, Sir Michael. You've just said it all. If you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. We need to have short-term plans and mid-term plans and long-term plans for us to and also have deliverables that okay, this is where we want to be in 5 years, this is where we want to be in 10 years. And I'm sure the policymakers are listening to this, and you are known to them, and some TV is widely listened to. So definitely, I believe people that matter will be listening. But now I want to go to something that everywhere I go to, didn't live in Taraba, I lived outside of Taraba, and anyone I meet, the first thing, where are you from, Taraba State, they say the agricultural gold mine. That is what they call Taraba. From the Mambila tea to rice to maize to groundnut to citrus, yet food processing, export and value chain development remain abysmal. Now the thing is that what is the missing equation? Because if you look at it, let us not sugarcoat it. Taraba is rich, but most of its people are poor, and that is why by 7 everybody is going on. Why does this contradiction persist? And what is the missing equation? Because the Taraba being a potential to move into the kinetic of being an agricultural gold mine.
Yeah, well again, Abraham, it's not rocket science, okay? Governance is a science, governance is also an art. Science is in the sense that there's a systematic way where you can measure these development indicators. And where there are gaps, there are ways you can also fill it. Today, the modern and current goal is data. How much data do we have about ourselves? What do we really know in terms of the resources available to Taraba. Yes, in broad terms, it's easy to say Taraba has mineral resources. It's easy to say Taraba has water bodies. It's easy to say we have the third largest state by land mass in Nigeria. But we need specific data. Okay, right to soil type, right to the topography, okay, right to the weather and climate issues that will help us do this planning. Okay, I'm not too sure, and I'm sure there's a Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning in Taraba. I think there's always been one, but we need to rule and govern based on available data. Where that data is also not available, we must also try to get it. If we can't get it from the public sector, let's try and get it from the private sector. I remember a few years ago, a group had offered to do the mapping, the geomapping, the mineral mapping of Taraba, from an aerial perspective, just to even assess what is the value of and what is the availability, the occurrence of minerals, for example, in Taraba. Okay, even that data alone, Abraham, is enough to attract investors. If we are able to map the soil type, okay, by location, by topography, by fertility, and we put all that information in a data repository available to investors, they will come in and check. Okay, this is what meets the requirements for farming rice, for example, or farming maize, or cocoa, or palm fruit, as the case may be. That data is critical, Abraham. We must take it into that level of detail. And then you can pick and choose. Once you can show investors, this is where you can create wealth. This is where the money is. This is where we can create jobs. They will jump at it. Okay, we already have the landmass. All right, we are bordering a foreign country. What stops us from being a free trade zone in the border areas from Mandela all the way to Baisa? Okay, we can pick and through those free trade zones produce items that we can sell not only to Nigeria, but indeed to Central Africa, Cameroon, all that distance. It is possible. All right. What are we doing about our topography? I mentioned that earlier on. I don't know whether you're conversant with the Obudu Cattle Ranch, okay, the one-time famous Obudu Cattle Ranch and Obudu. What you see in Obudu is a child's play compared to the Mandela, okay, where you can actually sit on those mountains and touch the clouds. That is enough to bring people to even come to be tourists in Nigeria. I'm talking about foreigners now, not even Nigerians. Okay, so we have that kind of topography, we have that kind of climate. What stops us from being the leading tea, coffee exporter in Africa with that kind of topography, with that kind of winter? The highest point in Nigeria, Garba Chiti, is in Taraba State. The highest amount of it is in Taraba State. The Gashaka Community Park, 6,400 square kilometers. Beautiful scenery with species of animals not seen anywhere in the world. That can be a tourist attraction, Abraham. These are things people do. I have had the privilege of living in Kenya. And from the Rift Valley to Nakuru to Naivasha to Mombasa, I've gone to some of these places, and what they've done with their topography, what they've done with the weather in terms of agricultural production, in terms of tourism is awesome. So Taraba can pick any of these particular areas, gather the data, refine the data, produce and package it in a way that will bring investment to the state. And you'll be surprised. All right, our liaison office in Abuja should be turned into an investment center. Okay, where a one-stop investment center, where anybody who is interested in coming to Taraba can come to that liaison office, sit there with an investment officer, discuss the possibilities, and arrange a trip to a Taraba, for example, where people can come and see live what is exactly happening. We can have an investment center too in Lagos, which is the commercial hub. With all this data, okay, which is viable, is feasible, is bankable, there are investors who are quite willing to do it. Do you know the kind of spring water we have in Taraba from those mountains? The kind of natural spring water, even Keram in Plateau, which produces strong water, would envy us because we have so much of that. But are we harnessing it? Okay, so you cannot harness except you have the data. Yes. When you have the data, you must also present it in a format to investors to attract them. It's not just to say we have water, we have land, we have people. What about them? You must give people specifically, something that they cannot resist. So when they see it in a document, in a format that is bankable, that is feasible, they will come on their own, Abraham. They will come on their own.
Definitely.
Okay?
Definitely.
Imagine how difficult this interview would have been if you were not set up in Jalingo and I was here in Abuja, for example. Okay, so you put infrastructure in place that will attract engagements like this. And the more people here, the more interested they get. So the state has to do a lot in terms of even strategic communication, telling Nigerians that, hey, we're here, Taraba is here, and we're open for business. Our investment agency also has to be energized and promoted and well funded so that it can also do the work that is actually meant to. I appreciate the fact that there's a lot of move to travel locally and travel internationally, but there's so much more work to do at home. And once you fix that work at home, trust me, Abraham, people will come from all over the world to Taraba. You may not know, or maybe you have forgotten. Many years ago, even in some of the current local governments around Taraba, they were landing strips.
Yes, definitely.
Foreigners who flew by air to places like Takum, to Kashaka, to Kari,
even my village, by Bamburi, Kalalamido.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, people were flying from there into Yaoundé, into Cameroon. Unbelievable. That's how you move goods and services. You create the infrastructure. Once the infrastructure is there, and I'm talking, these things were happening in the 1950s and 60s, Abraham. I'm not talking about like 20 years or 10 years ago.
Yes.
So if people could do that all the way from all over the world, imagine what it would be today. Okay, thank goodness we now have an airport in the Takum area at Kishimbila. That is commendable. It might take some time for traffic to pick up so that there's traction. But I'm just saying that beyond that, okay, you must give people access to an investment-ready environment. And once you have that, and there's ease of doing business, people can register a company, they can engage in contracts, government has information that's readily available. It is not just sitting in one commissioner's office or one PAMSEX office. It's available to Nigerians, for them to see. Once people see it, it's out there, it's variety, what they want, they will come. They will definitely come. We have to learn mass. Okay? I don't know whether you remember when Lagos State government had an arrangement with Benin Kebbi to produce rice.
Yes.
But Lagos does not have land.
They call it lake rice.
Yes, and say, let's have a collab, okay? Let's do this thing together. I have the land, you bring your resources. And then we appropriate or share the revenues as the case may be. That is also possible. So we must do some more strategic thinking. We must do some more collaborative thinking among ourselves, with other sub-nationals in the northern part of the country as well as in the south, and then of course with the foreigners. And once foreigners see that you're working well even within yourselves, nobody will tell them. It's a no-brainer. I always tell people, I'm not ready to convince you to come to Nigeria. You better come because it's happening here. The opportunities are here, and I will show you the opportunities because it's a job I do on a day-to-day basis here. All right. So once you can demonstrate to Nigerians and the world that the opportunities are there, they are open, they are accessible, they are easy to carry out. Honestly, people will come on their own. You will see Overland moving their flights from 3 times a week, to twice a day. Yola, which is just 2 hours away, has 6 or 5 landings every day into that airport. Okay? It's a function of what is going on there. It's a function of the activity. That's what draws investment. That's what draws travel and tourism, whether it's business tourism or it's ecotourism. Okay, so you must create that, and that's what Taraba needs to do, item by item, indicator by indicator, to bring in investment. And if you harness that, honestly, over the next 5-10 years, you'll be shocked at what can happen. The people are there already. There's intellectual capacity. The human resource is there. Well, we must harness them and then channel it in a way. And once you channel it, the implication too is that it will reduce social tension and all the violence and the things you're seeing around the state. It's likely because people are underemployed or even unemployed. But if they were busy, trust me, nobody wants to joke with his job to create any violence. Nobody will be interested in insecurity. Alright? If more radio stations like your own come to Taraba, to Jalingo, to Kari or to Mambila or to Karim Lamido or whatever, I mean, you're going to create jobs for people. So nobody's going to be out there waiting to fight the next imagined victim or the imagined enemy. People will be productively engaged and they'll do a lot of stuff. The kind of results we have of minerals in Taraba, palm plantations, sesame seed, cashew nuts, I mean all sorts of cash crops. If we harness them and deliberately deploy that, you'll be shocked at what transformation will come out of the state. So these are the things that I think we also need to look at a bit more aggressively.
Thank you very much. These are the things we also need to look at more aggressively. I wanted to divide the questions into the agricultural gold mine, the mining sector, and the tourism. But with what you said, I think what you said applies to these three sectors, and what we need is a proper plan. Now, looking at it, you have you can say you're an expert in PPP, that is public-private partnership, and you suggested that this is one of the only ways we can get out of this, because well, like we know, governments can't do it alone. It needs the involvement of everybody, the public, the private, to partner. Now, how do you see these PPP models or state-private joint ventures as viable tools for structuring sustainable and responsible operations, not only in agriculture, mining, and tourism in Nigeria? What global best practices should we be adapting?
Okay, so let's just do some, let's go back a little into history and, look at how change and evolution typically happens. At independence, government was largely in charge of the entire economy. In many respects, it's still the case today, but not to the same extent. So governments set up institutions, set up enterprises, set up businesses to provide, again, goods and services to the people. But you and I also know that many years down the line, many of these enterprises did not work. Many of them failed. Very few had successes in terms of the outcomes. So the efficiency expected deteriorated over time when the foreign government Nigerians took over. There were issues, of course, around expertise, attitude, discipline, and competence that, of course, came along the line. But more importantly, the costs available for development, whether it is at the national level or at the subnational level, has diminished very significantly. Our earnings have continued to drop. However, our demography has continued. So we less than 60 million at independence. Today we are over 200 million people, active, boisterous people to take care of. And the monoproduct economy that we are, all right, Nigeria has remained in OPEC. Today we have an allocation of 1.5 million barrels for a population of over 200 million people. Saudi Arabia with 40 million people is doing 10 million barrels per day. So look at the earnings. And you can see clearly over time, even if the production has remained stable, the population has grown. The needs of the people have also grown. And the public finance resources today have dwindled. So it is only proper that government looks for alternative sources of funding, what we call private capital, to be infused into the government activities and the government economy, so to speak, both at the federal and the subnational levels. Okay, because public finance resources alone may not be able to guarantee enough development or development required by the people. So now you introduce the concept of public-private partnerships, which is typically an agreement, okay, simply speaking, an agreement between the government and the private sector to share their risk and to share resources to deliver a service for the people. So this can be in health, it can be in education, it can be in security, it can be in telecommunications, it can be in agriculture. The government gives their asset to a private operator to operate. The private sector comes in, of course, with the efficacy and the zeal to run it properly, because nobody wants to lose money. In the case of government is not for profit. It also should not be for loss. Unfortunately, a lot of government agencies have become loss-making agencies. So we're saying, okay, can we bring the expertise of the private sector to help dilute the quality and the culture of government assets to produce results? So we all need to do an assessment of, okay, fine, where to deliver services, and it cuts across. If it's in the health space, we look for those people in the private sector who are ready to work with the government to deliver services. At the end of the day, the state benefits. Okay, people think that public-private partnerships are a loss to government because the private sector people will take advantage. No, it's not necessarily true. If you have a proper legal framework, if you have an institutional framework for public-private partnerships in your state, properly legislated, properly domesticated, and properly implemented, you can protect the investor and you can also protect the state. So the investor will not take advantage of citizens by just hiking prices because they want to make money. And the state also is guaranteed of certain levels of efficiency. The state also reserves the right to regulate those areas. So PPP is a model that has worked in so many countries, even in Nigeria here. There are quite a number of subnationals who are using PPP in these different sectors. So as a government, first and foremost, you must even know which of your assets or enterprises is performing, which of your institutions is not performing. Okay? You create an asset register, which is to say, well, this is the asset I have, this is the value of that asset. Is it performing? Yes, you tick. If it's not performing, fine, you exit out. How do I make it perform? Sometimes we think it's by pumping in more money. Not always. And even if you're pumping in more money, it should be money coming from private capital. Because the efficiency, the return on private capital, and the efficiency that goes with it is better than that of public finance, where people just say government money is everybody's money. So we don't have that diligence, you don't have that prudence. And the private sector will come, and whether you want to build houses, or you want to build new hospitals, or even schools, and even roads, you can get people in the private sector to come in, okay, and through this sharing of the assets, get them to participate. So it alleviates the problem government has around its limitations and constraints of the funding. Because I'm sure the governor will tell you, this money can't go round, and he's right. It cannot just go round because it's not enough. Simply speaking, I've told you it's 20,000 naira per capita per month for the citizens of Taraba. I'm giving you a very conservative estimate. So how can 20,000 naira a month take care of each Taraban in all the sectors? It's not possible. However, if you're able to infuse private capital to stimulate growth, to share the ownership, if you like, of the delivery of that service, you will see more efficacy. It's happening in different sectors, whether it's social services or non-social services. This is happening. So the whole idea around PPP, Abraham, is to bring in private money, private capital, private investment, anyone, they're pretty similar terms, to help government support its ability to deliver services to its people. So that way, those in charge can now free up resources to do other things which might not be that are priority to the state. Okay. And that way, development appeals. However, if we limit ourselves strictly to 100% budget allocation, we don't promote IGR, we don't promote PPPs, it will never be enough. And as the population continues to grow, these resources will be stretched and stretched to a point where nobody will feel government's impact anymore because the resources are just simply not there enough to take care of people. So PPP is the future, PPP is the way to go, and I think this is something the government can look at as a way of delivering its mandate to the people.
Well, thank you very much. You've spoken about PPP, but I don't, just like you said, the private sector won't just come in except there's a conducive environment. Now, if, let me just use it, let me be specific. If I'm a private investor and I walked up to you today and I say, okay, tourism, I want to build a world-class eco-resort in Taraba. What will be your honest advice? Will they invest or walk away? If you're telling me invest, where should I invest? What should I do? Okay, advise me on what to do. This is capital. This is your state. In tourism, I want to do a world-class eco-resort. What would be your advice to that investor? Should he invest or should he walk away? And where should he invest?
No, Taraba has potential. However, I'm saying there are conditions precedent to anybody bringing his private capital. And I did say it earlier on, we must be prepared to attract capital. By preparation, I mean we must have the data. We must have the documents in bankable format. We must have the infrastructure that supports investors coming in. All right? Whether it is an airport, whether it is the quality of roads, whether it is security infrastructure that will guarantee safety, whether it's the legislative and legal infrastructure that will guarantee and protect the investors' investment in the state, you know, whether it's giving them an inventory of those areas where they can invest in a format that will give them returns. All these things ab initio, Abraham, have to be prepared and be readily available to a potential investor. It's not a yes or no question. It's not a come and let's go and see commissioner or let's go and see whoever it is. No, it is about, is there information available, ready information, and are we prepared prepared for it. So if an investor is sitting thousands of miles away, he needs information. He's not going to come and take a risk in Africa, in Nigeria, and Taraba when he doesn't have information, when he doesn't have data. So it behoves on the Ministry of Tourism, Economic Planning, Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Investment, all those ministries who are responsible for packaging Taraba, for example, to say, okay, fine, you know what, we have this information, we have this data, we even have these people. All right? Like I told you, I've been in East Africa, I've been in Nairobi, and for tourism, they train their people to speak international languages. So if you're a tourist, you're Japanese, they have a guide for you who can speak Japanese. If you're French, they have a guide who can speak French for you. If you're Arab, they speak someone who can speak Arabic for you. I mean, you must go to that level of.
Hello? Hello? I think we lost Sir Michael Magaji there. Maybe we'll go for a short break. I will go for a short break, and when we come back, I believe we will have Sir Michael Magaji back. He was speaking on something very interesting, and I think we will go for a short break now. So don't go anywhere. We're still on Today's Politics on Some TV, and we're having a very, very interesting discussion with Sir Michael Magaji. But let's go for a short break now. When we come back, the discussion continues.
Are you ready to advance your career in health and management? Higher Ground College of Health and Management Sciences invites ambitious students to pursue excellence in dynamic learning environments. Why choose us? Our institution offers a transformative educational experience, combining education excellence and practical skills. We provide a cutting-edge curriculum with hands-on training, mentorship from industry professionals, networking opportunities for career growth, and leadership development for global impact. The programs offered include BSc, Medical Laboratory Science, Nursing Science, Environmental Health Science, Public Health, Community Health, and Health Economy. We also offer HND in Public Nursing. Our facilities: modern computer and medical labs, research centers and digital libraries, and interactive learning spaces and study zones. Who can apply? Aspiring professionals in health and management can apply. Working individuals seeking career advancement can also apply. International students looking for a global learning environment are also key applicants. Application requirements are 5 SSC credits, including English and Mathematics, JAM and entrance exam scores, medical report, birth certificate, local government industry letter, recommendation letters. Why Higher Ground? We offer work-study programs, flexible payment, and a supportive academic environment. Apply today. Visit www.highergroundcollege.edu or our campuses at Lab opposite VCK Jalingo, Taraba State, and opposite Army Barracks, Tako, Taraba State. Take the first step towards a brighter future. Choose Higher Ground College. Are you ready to advance your career in health and management? Higher Ground College of Health and Management Sciences invites ambitious students to pursue excellence in dynamic learning environments. Why choose us? Our institution offers a transformative educational experience, combining education excellence and practical skills. We provide a cutting-edge curriculum with hands-on training, mentorship from industry professionals, networking opportunities for career growth, and leadership development for global impact. The programs offered include BSc, Medical Laboratory Science, Nursing Science, Environmental Health Science, Public Health, Community Health, and Health Economy. We also offer HND in Public Nursing. Our facilities: modern computer and medical labs, research centers and digital libraries, and interactive learning spaces and study zones. Who can apply? Aspiring professionals in health and management can apply. Working individuals seeking career advancement can also apply. International students looking for a global learning environment are also key applicants. Application requirements are 5 SSC credits, including English and Mathematics, JAM and entrance exam scores, medical report, birth certificate, local government industry letter, recommendation letters. Why Higher Ground? We offer work study programs, flexible payment, and a supportive academic environment. Apply today. Visit www.highergroundcollege.edu or our campuses at Lab opposite VCK Jalingo, Taraba State, and opposite Army Barracks, Tako, Taraba State. Take the first step towards a brighter future. Choose Higher Ground College. Are you ready to advance your career in health and management? Higher Ground College of Health and Management Sciences invites ambitious students to pursue excellence in dynamic learning environments. Why choose us? Our institution offers a transformative educational experience, combining education excellence and practical skills. We provide a cutting-edge curriculum with hands-on training, mentorship from industry professionals, networking opportunities for career growth, and leadership development for global impact. The program
Escape the everyday at DY Scott, a luxurious haven for your hair, nails, and overall well-being. Imagine yourself settling into a plush armchair, the aroma of essential oils and freshly brewed coffee filling the air. Expert stylists meticulously craft.
Some TV, the pulse of the nation.
Your perfect look, whether you're seeking a bold modern style or a classic timeless cut. Beyond the perfect haircut, indulge in a revitalizing manicure or pedicure. Our skilled technicians use only the finest ethically sourced products, ensuring a truly pampering experience for your skin and the planet. Enjoy a refreshing drink, a mojito, chamomile tea, or something bubbly while you unwind in our relaxing atmosphere. Looking to socialize? Challenge friends to a game of table tennis or snooker in our convivial relaxation area. Reconnect with yourself and leave feeling confident, truly pampered and beautifully you. DY Scott is more than just a salon, it's an
Yes, welcome back to today's Politics on Some TV. I'm your host, Abraham Minor Judah. And today on today's Politics, we'll be discussing with Sir Michael Ibrahim Magaji. We'll be talking about unlocking Taraba's future. We're having a candid conversation with him. And you agree with me that it has been quite educative and quite informative. He has broken down what we need to do in Taraba, and I guess a lot of us have learned a lot from him. Now let us go to the other to another segment of this today's politics. Now I want us to look at the vision, the legacy, and personal commitment of Sir Michael Magaji. Now let's do personal, Sir Magaji. You've done well for yourself nationally and internationally. Why should you care about Taraba now? Beyond nostalgia, why should you care? You do well for yourself, and we have a lot of people who do well for themselves and they feel, well, I'm okay, I'm an international figure now, I don't need to come back home to add any value to where I am, because wherever I am, I can take care of myself. So why do you care so much about Taraba?
Okay, thanks, Ibrahim. I mean, I'm from Taraba. When I was born, it was Benue Plateau State. Then we moved to Gongola. I became an indigenous of Gongola State, and this is Taraba. I think we all have a moral obligation, but it's part of our rights as citizens, and part of our privilege to be involved in the development of the place where we come from. I did not grow up in Taraba. However, I do know that we can do better than what we're currently doing. And not just me, there are quite a number of people also like me who want to give back, who want to create impact. When I say give back, not because the state gave you anything, but at least because you are from there, you have a responsibility to identify with your people. You have a responsibility to support the government in developing its, and government at all levels, the local to the subnational, and of course ultimately the federal level. I have been privileged to serve the federal government of Nigeria in several capacities, and honor and privilege. And I thank all my leaders who gave me that opportunity to serve. This is our country, and we must fix it. This is also our state. We also have a responsibility to fix it and do all we can. So I would be sounding selfish if I say, well, because I have been able to arrive at a certain status in life, or because I've been privileged, so therefore I should look the other way. I don't think that would be fair. I don't think that would be fair. Because again, when the story is written, what would you have to say? What did you do about your own environment? I think that's what we all owe ourselves. And I think I remember when discussing with you, Abraham, yesterday or a few days back,
Yes.
you said you didn't grow up in Taraba either, but you have come back home today to work, help to develop it, and that's what you're doing.
Definitely.
And what we're doing this evening is just one example of that. And I'm sure you do so many more things every day of your life. Again, to project Taraba in the right light, to challenge our policymakers and our governments to even do better. That in itself is a contribution. That is part of your rights and privileges as a citizen of where you're from. So I believe I have a moral obligation and I have that privilege to give back to my state in any capacity that will lead to its progress and its projection. I have been around the country, I've been around the world, I work with different types of people in the public and private sector, and it is only fair that my people who are probably very challenged by several things get necessary attention. So it's not just about me, it's about us. It's not about politics, it's about development. Okay, it's not about partisanship, it's about collaboration. Okay, and we all need to take a cue from this. Alright, nobody's going to build our state for us. We are going to build our state. Nobody's going to build our local government for us from outside. We have to build it. So we must aggregate our individual contributions in different ways to see that that happens. So that for me is the conviction. The law of state, the law of country, and the need to put Taraba on the national map, to put Taraba's footprint on the national and regional map, which is to say, improve on quality of services, improve on quality of governance, improve on economic indicators, so that we can mainstream Taraba into the league of those states in Nigeria who are actually making very serious contributions to national development. So for me, that is the conviction. There's no other incentive, and I'm not doing it because I want a reward. I'm doing it because I think it's just normal and it's a natural thing to do.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me ask, now you worked at the highest level of policy now at BPE. So what is there anything that you're doing for Taraba through your vantage position as a director of BP right away, or which area have you contributing directly to Taraba State now from your vantage position at the national level?
Well, I've tried to do what I can, and I always, one of the things I've always done while in public service was, anytime we have national engagements, I try to find out, is anybody from Taraba present? Whether it is a meeting with the commissioners or advisors, or it's a training program, that requires national participation. I try to find out, and where I can, invite people to participate in this. Because of the strategic nature of the BP, we have not just federal agencies, but even subnational governments coming here to seek for advice, to seek for ways and means to improve their own local economies, particularly in relation to the privatization and commercialization process. And I'm more than happy to extend that to Taraba State. I'm very open, and I see some of the moves His Excellency is making, and I think they should be supported. However, more can still be done. More can still be done, because we need that visibility. We need the we're already economically disadvantaged. And so we need agencies like the BP, like the NIPC, like the NEPC, who are responsible for promoting investment and development. We also need partnerships at the federal level with agencies that can bring additional support through funding, through technical assistance to the subnational governments. And in Taraba, we need to understand that it's about collaboration. It's not about territorialism or marking territory. No, it's to say, okay, we're going to open our arms to all the stakeholders who we feel can help us develop, whether it's at the federal level, whether it's at the state or regional level, or whether it's with the private sector itself, whether it's with development partners, development agencies, the World Bank, the IFC, the AFDB, and there are several of them that can come in, look at what we have, and see how they can also help us. So we also need to reach out. So from where I sit, obviously I'm more than happy to assist, the government in any particular way that, will lead to, stepping up our visibility, our presence, and our economic activity in the best way possible. And this is not rocket science. It is doable. People are still doing it. I remember when I was in the Ministry of Works as special advisor to the minister then, at the time I actually had to seek out the Taraba State governor at the time. I don't want to mention names, but I sought audience with him and I said, Oga, please come to the Ministry of Works, okay, and let's see what we can do about federal roads in Taraba. Okay, and it's just normal. Everybody will look out for where he's also from. Okay. And in fairness to that governor, he came. I never knew him, he never knew me from anywhere, and there was no incentive around it before or after. I just did it because of the law of my state. So we can continue this kind of engagement with the federal government, with federal agencies, and see how we can harness. Right? We also need to identify the public servants at the center from Taraba, who could be helpful too, not just informing policy, but also in supporting growth of the state. Okay, they don't have the resources to, but they probably have the knowledge and they probably have the influence and scope to do it. So again, we need to reach out to as many as possible and have very, very important conversations around how that can be done. And I'm sure once people notice that there's a seriousness on the part of the state to do this, they want to contribute more. So that is just essentially it. So from where I sit, I try to do what I can in announcing Taraba, in representing Taraba in the best way possible. Not because Taraba nominated me to this point, no, but because this is also where I'm from. So I would like to attract the best to go from Taraba also to come to the center here and see how they can play their own role. One hand washes the other, so we all need to work together, federal and sub-nationals, to improve our various communities. So I think we need to do that, and we need to do more in Taraba, because I have been saddened many times where I come for programs, and I'm not going to talk about where I work now, but in the past where I was advisor with many ministers and we had programs, national programs, and Taraba was visibly absent in many of them. And if you're not on the table when we are discussing issues, how do you benefit? Definitely. How do you benefit in terms of development from those discussions? So we need more of our presence and our visibility in fora that relate to development, not only within the state but outside the state. In fact, there are people, I know states who are appointed commissioners strictly just to sit in Abuja and pursue cross-governmental activities. That is federal and state. What can you bring to the states? Okay, the commissioner just sees that, and that's all he does. Okay, he reports to his ESCO. I've seen it happen in my lifespan in public service. That's so great. It's not rocket science. We must be deliberate and strategic about it.
Just yesterday, I came across the document social media whereby there's a committee by the state government that had Honorable Ndudi Elumelu as chairman. You are part of that committee. Most of them are not from Taraba. There's also a local organizing committee. So what is it about? And you talk about collaboration, PPP. Is this one of those initiatives by the government?
Well, again, just you. I saw the letter. I saw the notice. I don't have a letter even as we speak now. Nobody has given me any letter to say this is what it is. So I don't know what the terms of reference are. Okay. But off the top of my head, I imagine that His Excellency wants to attract and create an environment for new investment or for more investment. On the top of my head, but I can't speak for him because I've not seen the terms of reference. It's only when I see the terms of reference I will know. However, even looking at the list, you can see that it's a mix of people from Taraba and of course people from outside. Nobody works in isolation or grows in isolation these days. You must collaborate. You must reach across the Niger. You must reach across the seas.
Definitely.
Okay, overseas and talk to people. Yes, there's nothing wrong with even foreigners being on that list. You know, for as long as it's going to bring the dividends that Taraba requires. So again, like I said, it's always an honor and a privilege to serve. All right, this is just a committee. It's not an appointment.
Definitely.
It's a committee, I think, that is charged with delivering an investment summit, which might not last more than 1 day or maximum 2. Again, I don't have the idea, so let me not preempt it, but that is just what it's for. In the best way possible, I will do what I can for the sake of the state. So this is not about individuals or about partisanship. It's about development.
Okay.
At the end of the day, with or without parties, with or without partisanship, the state will remain. And we will all have to ask ourselves, what have we done to improve the lot of the state?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's good that you don't preempt the governor, but I believe that initiative will be a good one with the caliber of people on it, and you're also part of those on that committee. Now, you have shown that you clearly would love to serve Taraba State, and you've made effort to serve in the past politically. Now, do you see yourself, well, returning to South Taraba more directly in the near future, perhaps politically or even in an executive advisory capacity?
Well, let me just say, I have, over the years, I've gathered quite a bit of experience working with the federal government, working in the private sector in places where we implemented best practices. I told you I work for a Fortune 100 company.
Yes.
So I understand the issues. I have also worked in public service at the highest levels. That exposure has been a privilege for me. And like I said, at some point, you feel morally obliged to serve your people in a more deliberate way. So for me, I will be privileged and honored to serve citizens of Taraba in whatever capacity that God calls me to. I'm providential and
hello?
Yeah, hello, are you there?
Yes, well, yeah. I'm here. Okay, sorry, I'm here.
Yes. So for me, it's about service. It's about creating impact. Like you mentioned, well, God has given me certain benefits and privilege and exposure. And I don't take credit for it. I give God all the glory.
Yeah.
I never expected I would come this far in life. So why can't I carry my people along? Why can't my people share in this? And that's the whole idea. Service to humanity, impact, transformation. Okay, and like I said, we are long overdue in Taraba to mainstream into the national economy. We are long overdue in Taraba to put our footprint, not only just in the northeast, but also around the country. We need to be more deliberate and strategic about it. So we're happy to join any group or set of people that I also have the same mindset. It's all about our country and our state. Okay, and I think whatever privilege we have to serve the people, and I say serve, and that is deliberate.
Yes.
Because leadership is about service. For me, it's a service word. It's not a status in terms of, okay, I'm the guy on top. No, it's about how you are able to serve your people to create the most impact.
Okay.
That is what is key in leadership.
Yes,
so it's not for me, it's not a status or a position symbol. It's about how you can serve the people and getting the right team of people to work with you to deliver that service. I think that was important. Just a few weeks ago, we were able to, in my local government, we were able to bring one of the commercial banks to come and set up their presence there. Because there was no financial services, there was no formal financial services. The next local government to me, when they heard, they called me and said, Mike, you know what, we also don't have financial service, can you help us? Again, it's about the people, it's not about me.
Definitely.
Okay, how can we say in the first century, people don't have access to financial services, people don't have access to the national grid? I mean, it's totally unacceptable. That is totally unacceptable. So I think these are things we can overcome, and it's by us actively participating in the states and across the local governments to make this difference.
Thank you very much. We've had a very, very interesting conversation, and if I just looked at the time is far spent, but it seems like just a minute ago we started this conversation. So I will go, finally, if you have a minute, to pitch Taraba to the world, investors, tourists, and even fellow Nigerians. What will you say to them in a minute?
Well, they say Rome was not built in a day, right?
Yes.
Taraba also will not be built in a day. But I can tell you, with the right leadership in place, with the right policy options in place, with the right investment in place, we can build that Taraba in a day. Okay, we can also make things happen because the state is full of opportunities, it's full of potential, it's full of good and great people. We have all it takes to be great. It's just now for us to come together and make it happen. It's about leadership. It's also about the leadership, understanding what is right. And what
Oh, that's quite. We lost Sir Michael Magaji there, and he has said a lot, and I believe our viewers out there we are quite satisfied with what he has said, because he has looked at Taraba State from the position of policy, from the position of someone who has been there, has worked at the federal level, as a private person, as a public person, and he has also served as advisors to prominent Nigerians and prominent institutions across Nigeria. Sir Michael Magaji is a director in the Bureau of Public Enterprises. He's from Musa, local government of Taraba State. And we're very, very happy to have him on the show. And I will say, okay, well, thank you. Sir Magaji, are you back? Okay. Okay, welcome back. Just give us your just round up the discussion so that we can just give us your final thoughts.
Yeah, thank you again, Abraham. Thank you for it's a rare privilege, and I thank all the listeners in Taraba and beyond for listening through. All of us are challenged by issues around development. But we must have the right kind of people. We must have the right kind of systems. We must have the right kind of mindset, okay, to make that difference. And I am saying that if we do that in Taraba, we'll make it happen. And I call on all Tarabans of goodwill, all Tarabans who are positively disposed towards this, to put in their to serve their state with this right attitude. We have a lot of potential, and we can actualize this potential if we work together in peace and unity to make it happen. So once again, thank you for the privilege to be on your program this evening. I look forward to further engagements with not just you, but with all the people in Taraba State to make a difference in Taraba and make it a star state too.
Thank you very much, Sir Magaji, and I think I will always look up to engaging with you. It has been a delight having this discussion with you, and you've done a lot to ensure that we had a very, very interesting conversation. So thank you very much, Magaji. And I know today is a wet day. Go relax, and I believe a lot of us will have to go back and watch and listen to this again, because there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge in what you say. Thank you very much, Sir Michael Magaji. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you for having me, and my regards to your entire management.
Thank you.
God bless Taraba State.
God bless Taraba State. God bless Nigeria. So on this note, we've come to the end of today's Politics on Some TV. And just like I said, our guest is Sir Michael Magaji, Director at the Bureau of Public Enterprises from Musa, Taraba State. So thank you for joining today's Politics. Today's Politics comes up every day from 6 to 7:30 on Some TV. And I'm your host, Abraham Joda. Thank you for watching. Good evening.